Hello and welcome. My name is John Marshall. I'm a local broadcaster with 25 years experience covering local high school athletics as well as college and more. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the 39th class of inductees into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is a 501c3 nonprofit organization operated by a committee of 20 local sports enthusiasts, including coaches, administrators, and members of the media. Since 1986, each inductee has been selected from a list of those nominated. A nomination form is available at our website at hancockhof.com. The submission deadline for next year's induction class is September 1st. The more information provided, the better, so that the committee is well versed on proposed members before the voting takes place. The new class is enshrined at the Hall of Fame banquet each spring. Now, let's meet the 2025 class of inductees. Joining us now is a man who excelled in both football and wrestling at Macomb, graduating in 2001. It's my pleasure to introduce Travis Clark as a member of the 39th class of the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. Now, in that you are settled in Texas, we are so glad that you could be with us tonight.
No, I'm honored to be here.
You were a member of the early Chris Alge era of Macomb football, earning the BVC Defensive Player of the Year honors as a senior and first team All-Ohio that season. What was it that helped you earn that success?
I think it was just the hard work from an early age. You know, it was instilled in me by my dad and my granddad to, you know, if you want to do something, just get out there, work for it. And you know, so when I was going through, you know, Pee Wee football, middle school football, you know, I just kept grinding. You know, that's what I wanted to do. Got to high school. You know, I had the pleasure of playing under Bill Banning my freshman year, and then Coach Alge took over my sophomore year. And I think it was a special group of teammates I had. You know, we all had the common vision. We had the goal of changing that program and really taking it and running with it.
You were an excellent competitor for the Panthers on the mat as well, qualifying for state 2 times. How did what you learned in one sport translate to the success in the other?
Well, I think it goes back to the hard work. You know, wrestling is a sport where what you put in is what you get out. So being able to work hard every day, grind, and, you know, like when you slip and fall and you come up short, you know, you have to get yourself back on track. There's no one else around you. So being able to take that mindset and that work ethic over to the football field was definitely beneficial.
After high school, you went on to the military, serving in the United States Marine Corps as a combat engineer with a stint in Iraq. It certainly takes winning or discipline to be a winning athlete. Would you say that your time in the service amplified that?
Absolutely. Joining the Marine Corps was never part of the plan, but it happened, and it was probably the best decision I ever made. And the tools that I gathered in the Marine Corps, the things that I was taught, it really shaped who I was as a person, and I was able to carry that on with me, you know, almost 20 years now. So the Marine Corps is definitely one of the big reasons why I turned out the way I did.
You continued to wrestle in the Marines as well.
I did. So after I got back from Iraq in 2003, my last 2 years of service, I wrestled for the Marine Corps Greco-Roman wrestling team. I was a 2-time University All-American and a Senior Nationals All-American for the Marine Corps before I decided to get out and go to college.
You went on to the University of Findlay, where you were both a student and a wrestler, where you were a Division II All-American 2 times. You certainly took the student part to heart as well, earning academic All-American status on 3 occasions. Most folks, once they get through with their high school and then college, if they get so lucky, once they get done with that, their competitive days are over, but certainly not the case with you. You've continued on in jiu-jitsu, grappling, have won 10 world titles, 3 Pan American championships, and were a grappler for Team USA 3 times.
Correct. So after college, after earning my bachelor's and master's and wrestling for 3 years and playing football for a year, I chose to go to Texas to be a teacher and coach. And about a year in, I was, that competitor edge was missing, so I needed something else to do. So I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and, it's opened up a lot of doors. It's led me to far off countries. I've competed in Kazakhstan, Serbia. I've been to Germany, Dubai, Canada, and, I compete all over the country. But, it's really helped me build those relationships. And most importantly, it helps me with my own personal athletes, because as they see me out there competing and training and working for a goal, it allows them to realize, okay, I have to put in the work if I have similar goals.
And for well over a decade, 16 years now, you've been coaching high school boys and girls wrestling in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Your teams and individuals have been really quite successful. What got you into coaching?
Honestly, I don't really know. I just, my first degree was in criminal justice, and I graduated early from college. I got my bachelor's in 3 years, and I just wanted to come back for a 4th year eligibility. So I had to figure something else out. So I decided on education. Football team offered to help me with my master's. I still wrestled. So I got my teaching degree. I got my master's in education, and they did a job fair, and that's kind of the road I ended up on. And out of 19 job offers, I chose to go to Dallas. And, I got down there, fell in love with the state, fell in love with the culture. And, I've been there for 16 years now.
It must be gratifying to give your students, your athletes, the opportunities that you had at Macomb, especially when they meet and surpass some of your success.
Oh, absolutely. I've been blessed to coach some pretty phenomenal athletes in the last 16 years. They've been all over the world themselves. And, me coming from a very small town and, now living in a city of 8 million where I can impact others. And, wrestling was the path that I took to save my life and to open up those new adventures and those new opportunities. And, just being able to give that back to another kid who, may need the same thing. And, to teach them that with hard work and dedication to something, that they can reach their goals.
Now, you are a coach for folks now. Is there a coach, maybe a superior in the military, a mentor of some sort, that put you firmly on the path that got you where you are now?
There's a lot of people through my career. I've been blessed to have a lot of great coaches. Coach Tom Malo was probably one of my first wrestling coaches, football coach, and he had a big part of my life growing up. I had Coach Algie, I had Coach Nelson, I had Coach Taylor, Coach Shoup will be here tonight. I had a lot of Coach Harden, and then just on. And then, they're just kind of the ones that said, look, keep going, keep going, keep going. And, I got to Texas, I was all alone, and I'm actually at my 3rd school. I've been there 11 years, but the former coach at the school I'm in, he wrestled for Oklahoma. He's older, but he's the one that said, I want you to take over this program. And he came back as my assistant coach, and he really mentored me. That's Coach Kelsey Lyons. But, I've had a lot of great people in my life.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and continued success, sir.
Thank you.
Macomb native and University of Findlay graduate Travis Clark, one of the distinguished members of the 39th class of the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. Up next, as we introduce the 39th class of inductees into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame, is 2010 Liberty Benton graduate Aaron Kraft. Welcome back. We're pleased to have you here in town again.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. This is an amazing honor, and just really happy to be back and to celebrate.
As an Eagle, you were really quite successful both on the football field and the basketball floor. First team All-Ohio twice as the Liberty Benton quarterback. You were under center as the team finished state runner-up and Division IV Offensive Player of the Year. All of that in just 3 years playing the sport as you stepped back your senior year after signing to play college basketball.
Yeah, I loved playing football. It was just something that you can't replicate anywhere else. You can't play football like you do in high school anywhere else. So was very glad and fortunate to have coaches that were willing to work together and allow me to do both for as long as I did. And obviously teammates that were amazing to be around and be part of. And obviously, yeah, we were successful, and that made it a lot of fun. But, the locker rooms are the things that I think you miss the most, and it was the guys that made those up. So.
Of course, basketball is what you're known for more often. Two-time All-Ohio, the Division III Player of the Year in 4 years on the varsity squad for Liberty Benton. You and your teammates posted a record of 89-5. That's a mark that's not soon to be surpassed by a local team. You played for now fellow Hall of Famer Steve Williman. Football or basketball, is there a standout moment for your time as an Eagle?
It was all great. There's at least one game I think we should have won. And it was kind of my fault. We won't need to talk about that one. But just, I was so fortunate as a freshman to come into a team that was really well established and had so many other guys that were really good at what they did. And coach trusting me to welcome a young, just 16-year-old kid that didn't know much. To welcome that into that fold and to be part of that team really kind of set me up for success as the years wore on. And they just taught me how to be a leader and what it took to practice well and prepare well. And that foundation was laid at an early age, and I'm just super grateful for that because it carried through high school and obviously into college as well.
Yes, you learned those lessons well. Off you went to Ohio State to play basketball for the Buckeyes. You contributed to 119 wins in your time there as you racked up school records for assists and steals. The steal mark still stands as the high mark in the Big Ten as well. Big Ten All-Defensive Selection 4 times, the National Association of Basketball Coaches Defensive Player of the Year in 2014, Big Ten Tournament MVP in 2013 as your Buckeyes won the league title. And that's a long way of saying you were a pretty good ball player in college.
Thank you. Again, it was a very fortuitous situation coming into a team that was incredible. And having a very defined role as a freshman just allowed me to blossom into a better player and a better person. And I owe Coach Mata and the entire coaching staff a lot. And they trusted me for 4 years. And I just tried to make the most of that trust and had great teammates. Man, we had really fun, good teams to be a part of. Practice was competitive and trash talk happened, but it was a place that we all wanted to get better and learn and grow. And it was obviously one of the better times of my life playing sports. So love that time and miss it a lot.
Last year, you were inducted into the OSU Hall of Fame and recognized as one of the 12 Buckeye greats in men's basketball. To be considered that even among those you played with would be a big honor. But going back over the many big names in program history, that certainly had to be astonishing for you.
Yeah, it's still hard to believe, to be honest. When they called and originally told me, it was hard to just really put it into words because, like you said, I played with Buckeye greats. There's no other way to put it. And to be one of the first ones to go into the Hall of Fame, and I know, those guys will eventually be there too. It's just a really humbling experience. Ohio State just helped me become who I am. They gave me a ton of, helped me learn to what it's like to grow and learn. So to be among that fraternity and among that group of athletes was a tremendous honor.
While you were honored for your sports endeavors, you were also a pretty good student. 3 academic All-Americans, twice the Division I Academic All-American of the Year, all of that while putting your mind to work in pre-med classes. So how did you keep up the high standard both on the court and in the classroom?
Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd, so I like learning. I love kind of understanding why things are happening, and I think a lot of that goes back to my parents growing up. They emphasized academics and wanting to do our best in everything that was available to us. So obviously school fell in that category. Coach Mata put a clear goal in front of me before I got to school because they hadn't had an academic All-American in 50 years, since in the 1960s, 70s, in that range. So that was always a goal that I was very proud to meet for him because I wanted to bring that back to the program and just being able to do it continually. They give you as much help as you need at a place like that with all the travel and the tutors and the classes. So it was a good time. I enjoy that aspect, and it's a big reason why wanted to go to medical school and become a physician. I like that lifelong learning. So it's just a little bit of nerdiness, but I don't mind.
Well, as you were headed into medical school, you also had some fun getting back with your old mates, playing with the TBT, the basketball tournament, winning it with Carmen's crew. How did that compare with all the success that you had in high school and at the college level?
It was pretty great. We never found a way to end the season on a win in high school or in college. So to be able to play with that group again in a competitive thing that mattered a lot was so much fun. Even the years that we didn't win, just being around that group for a couple weeks in the summer, just kind of taking you back to when you were in school was amazing. So, it's a big shout out to the TBT for putting that on in general and giving us that opportunity. And then obviously the winning is the icing on the cake. When you play a tournament style thing that anything can happen in every game. We just found a way to win those 6 games. So it was a ton of fun.
Now you have other titles: husband, dad, doctor. I have no doubt that you excel at those roles at least as well as you have in the others in the past. Aaron, it certainly is great to have you here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. There's a lot to learn still in those other areas. So we're still grinding away, but I have some really great people around me. My wife is amazing, has been a rock for me and our family in general. My kids are amazing. I love them, and they're continually teach me every day about things that what really matters and what's important, and things that I can continue to get better at. So it's just been amazing to go through life and kind of be where we are, and excited to see what God has in store in the future.
Now, also in being inducted tonight is your sister, Kate Kraft. Word is that she got all of her moves for playing basketball, playing with you and your brother in the backyard, the driveway at home. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, maybe a little. I'll take a little bit of responsibility. Maybe Brandon should too for some of her toughness. I think we roughed her up a little bit at times, but I think she's always had a little bit better stroke than I have from the outside. I still would take myself in a heated one-on-one situation where the game is on the line. I'm still taking that shot, but I believe in myself. But she's an amazing person and an amazing woman, and she found a way to make a path her own with everything that was going on, and her work ethic and her determination carried her a long way, and I can't take credit for that.
We'll talk more about your sister Kate here shortly. Our congratulations to Aaron Kraft, another member of the Hancock Hall of Fame 39th induction class. Up next, we'll talk a bit about Kate Kraft, another member of the 39th induction class. Unfortunately, Kate is unable to be with us tonight as she continues to put her all into whatever it is that she sets her mind to. She is obliged to be at work in Scottsdale, Arizona, where she is a neonatal nurse. Kate is a 2010 graduate of Liberty Benton, where she starred in both volleyball and basketball. In 4 seasons on the Liberty Benton volleyball team, she was a 3-time first-team All-BVC conference selection. Kraft was a 2-time member of Division III All-Ohio team, and her senior year she was named to the League Player of the Year, along with earning the Division III AP State Player of the Year. On the basketball floor, she was a member of the Eagles teams that were 93-8 over 4 years, winning 3 BVC titles, making the state Final Four 3 times. That included the 2010 state title for Liberty Benton under head coach Nate Irwin. While playing at Liberty Benton, Kate put up 1,714 points in her career. A 4-year letter winner for Ohio State women's basketball team, Kraft started 103 of 166 games in her career there, led the team in 3-point goals as a junior, and sunk 135 threes over her career, 15th all-time for the program. In her senior season, Kate was a captain of the Buckeyes as they finished second in the Big Ten tournament and went on to reach the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. A 4-time OSU Scholar athlete, she was an academic All-Big Ten 3 times as she put up a career 744 points for the Buckeyes. Now we have a few words from Kate Kraft.
Hi everyone, it's Kate Kraft. Congratulations on all your nominations. I wish that I could be there. I currently live in Scottsdale, Arizona. I work for Arizona Neonatology as a neonatal nurse practitioner. Unfortunately, I already had time scheduled off around this event, so it was hard for me to get extra time to be there. But congratulations. I wish that I could share this moment with all of you. For me, I'm honestly not quite sure if I ever got involved in sport, by choice or kind of just by default. I grew up in a competitive household with two older brothers who played a lot of organized team activities. Outside of that, though, they were always in the driveway, in the yard, playing against neighborhood kids, playing against each other, trying to get better, trying to beat each other. And I was just that annoying little sister who kind of followed them around, was kind of nagging, always wanting to play, always wanting to be better than them. And for the most part, they tolerated me. They let me play. They never let me win anything. They beat up on me pretty frequently. But I think all of that just kind of sparked a competitive drive in me from a young age. And somewhere along the way, the basketball court became my favorite place, my safe space, where I felt like I could be me, where I felt the happiest. And that ultimately led me to the awesome career I had at Liberty Benton under Coach Irwin and Coach Lieb. I had them. I had 4 years of amazing teammates. I had a lot of people who pushed me, supported me, but ultimately trusted me. And so we could accomplish a lot of great things. And then that turned into the wonderful career at Ohio State that I had. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'd go back and do it in a heartbeat. I think for me, my favorite thing about sport, though, is the people that you meet. Sure, you get to travel all these places, you get to have all this fun, you have all these accolades that you accomplish, but I think my favorite thing is the people. It allows us to meet in spaces just like this with people that you may not have met before. You connect with people from all walks of life. To this day, some of my favorite people, some of my family are people that I've met through sport. I live thousands of miles away from some of them, and they're still some of the most important relationships that I have. So I think that's the coolest thing that sport has given all of us. My mom, Wendy, is there. She will be accepting my plaque on my behalf. And I just want to take this, opportunity briefly to say thanks, Mom. A lot of the sacrifices that you made allowed the boys and me to be able to play sports. We got to play in any competitive sport we wanted to play in. We got to travel where we wanted to go. We had everything that we ever needed. And a lot of that is due to sacrifices that you made for us. You put in a lot of time traveling in the car, by plane. You put in a lot of gym hours yourself, just watching us and, waiting around for games. So thank you. I do want to say, as supportive as I always remember you being, I also remember, being humbled by you. One of my favorite memories, weirdly enough, now that I'm older, is I remember airballing during a high school game. Unfortunately, a free throw, and you waited until the gym was dead silent to yell airball at your own child. And so it's like I remember how supportive you were, all the sacrifices you made, but I also remember those little moments where you kept it fun, kept us humble. But ultimately, thank you so much. Lastly, this room is full of a lot of people within the Liberty Benton community that showed me what a community is. We moved to Findlay when I was in elementary school. I grew up around a lot of you. You showed me what it was like to have people who support you, want the best for you, not just in sport, people who want to see you achieve in life. And now all these years later, we get to gather in a space like this to celebrate even more. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for showing me kind of what that community is and being able to grow up in a safe space like that. Congratulations again, everyone. Congratulations, Aaron. It's cool to be able to do this with you. I think back on all the times that you and I spent in the gym, in the weight room, late night gym sessions, just the hours that we spent together, even just talking about sports, talking about our games, how to get better, watching videos with each other. I look back on all those times in my life and they're some of my absolute favorites. So thank you for, always being there for me and pushing me in sport as well. So congratulations again, everyone. I wish that I could be there.
Kate Kraft, another member of the 39th class of the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. As we continue recognizing the 39th class of the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame inductees, it's my pleasure to introduce Amy Rodeheffer Guare.
You got it.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
It's quite a trip from Charlotte, so it does give you a chance to get back to the old stomping grounds, relive some of those terrific memories from your days on the pitch. When did you start playing soccer?
I started playing soccer as a youth, young. I was probably between 6 and 8 years old. Started recreationally and then joined a travel soccer team that was formed here out of Findlay. And I stuck with those girls for years and years and years, and we ended up playing all through high school together. So it was a wonderful journey.
You got into playing for Findlay High School. You had some significant success there with those other teammates. Third team and second team All-Ohio selections, first team All-Northwest District 3 times, and a trip to the regional finals for you and the team when you were a sophomore. Do you have a strong memory that stands out for you in your time playing for the Blue and Gold?
I mean, there's so many, and I love that our team had such great camaraderie. It was so much fun, just being along with the teammates and, from practices to our journeys throughout the tournaments. And yeah, those games in particular were significant just because we would go on and play other teams from up in Toledo or Dayton and Cincinnati, and a lot of those opponents would eventually become my teammates at the University of Cincinnati. But yeah, just, competing all throughout the season and having great success with the teams, I would say that's probably the most significant memory for me.
Now, you graduated in 1996, went on to the University of Cincinnati to play for the Bearcats. Do you recall when you knew that you were headed to play collegiate Division I soccer, and how did you end up in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I think one of the things for me is I did want to try to play Division I if that was a possibility for me. And I wanted to get away from home, but not too far away from home. And Cincinnati was like the perfect place for me to end up. And I had played alongside a lot of the girls that were down in Cincinnati throughout my club career. So I just knew it would be a great fit for me.
2 league titles in Conference USA where the Bearcats played then, 26-10-4 in conference play during your tenure there. Third team All-League as a junior, second team as a senior. Your final year, you led the team in points with 14 and scored 3 game-winning goals. So a lot of special memories from that time in your career.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. We had a lot of great success.
Academic All-Conference for you 4 times. It seems that you took your studies just as seriously while you were at Cincinnati as you earned Academic All-Conference USA 4 times. Was soccer the means to getting your degree?
It obviously gave me the push and the drive. I feel like it just helped me excel not only on the soccer field, but also in the classroom as well.
Now, what are you up to these days? I see you're a wife and a mom. And are your children also giving it a go in soccer?
I have 2 children. I am strongly involved in their day-to-day activities. My daughter Celia is a junior in high school, and she is an equestrian. She rides horses. And my son Drake is an 8th grader, and he is a big-time lacrosse player. So they both played soccer when they were little, and then they just found other endeavors, and I love that soccer gave them a good foundation to find what they truly loved. So
it's been a pleasure to meet you, so thanks so much for coming, and congratulations on your induction.
Thank you. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
Amy Rodeheffer Guare, a member of the 39th induction class into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. Up next on the agenda, Larry Young. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Welcome back to the old neighborhood.
Yes, thank you. It's great to be here.
You played football for Coach Barry at Corey Rawson and also played basketball for the Hornets. An all-BVC pick in basketball twice, 5 times in football, counting both offense and defense. Your team, All-Ohio, your senior year. First team All-Ohio, your senior year in football, and a part of the 68 team that was undefeated, untied, unscored upon, earning the number 1 ranking in the UPI ratings that year. What was it like growing up in the CR district, and how did you come to be good in both sports?
Well, I'd have to say growing up, I had friends, of course, we went all the way through from kindergarten all the way up, and we were real close. We had, great support out of the community. And we had some great players that played before us that showed us the way, so we just kind of followed along, I think.
Now, being on a team like that and leading the team in several receiving categories as an end, 5 of those records still stand, by the way. You got some attention from college coaches, so off to Athens, you went to play for the OU Bobcats. How did that come about?
Well, I visited some other schools, some bigger schools, Indiana, Purdue, and some other MAC schools, and it just didn't feel right, at that time. So I had a recruiting coordinator by the name of Frank Elwood, who was the quarterback when Hopalong Cassidy was at Ohio State, and he was pretty persistent, and I visited down there and got along great with some of the kids at that time, and it just felt like the right place to go.
You were a 3-year letterman there, and that's all you could do at that point. You weren't allowed to play varsity football as a freshman at that point. And for that matter, you switched to guard as a senior from having been a receiver because that's what was needed. That certainly says a lot about your attitude and your skill.
Well, I don't know about that, but I wasn't the happiest trooper at that time because what happened was that they changed the offense, started running the veer, and the tight end didn't really exist. They had more of a multi-purpose end out there. They used smaller guys, and so they said, we need help at guard, and at that point, let's just do it. That's okay.
At what point did it occur to you that you wanted to be a teacher and a coach?
Well, I think that mostly came about from my brother Roy, who was 7 years older than me. He was a teacher and coach. He played on Coach Barry's first team that he had. And growing up on a farm, you just have a lot of interest in science, and it was just kind of a smooth pathway.
Your teaching and coaching career took you first to Urbana and then to Bellefontaine, where you still are, I understand. So how did you end up in those schools?
Well, actually, I went to Bellefontaine first and was there 20-some years, and then I went to Urbana as a principal for a couple of years, and then went back. My kids were getting into high school, so I went back to Bellefontaine at that time. Primarily, it was, you're graduating from college and you look around at what, positions are open, and there were several open, and I visited Bellefontaine and enjoyed the place a lot, liked the people there a lot, so that's where we went.
35 years as a teacher, more than that as a coach. You've been a track, football, basketball coach over the years, and you must have been pretty good at it too, as you were the Southwest District Track Coach of the Year in 1985.
Well, we actually, of course, I went there to coach football, and after a few years, when I got to be the head coach, they needed a track coach, so I took that because I thought I would help out our football program. And little did I know that was the way I was going to end up really going in the end. But it's, I stayed with football in different capacities for a while, but we really took off with the track, and that's just kind of how it worked out.
I've looked at a lot of the pictures that you sent along for the induction ceremony and that we'll be showing here as well. One thing that I noticed is that many of those photos don't even include you. They are of your athletes, and that certainly suggests to me that you are of the school of many good coaches who put the focus on the kids. It's not about you. Is that safe to say?
Well, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. This whole thing is a little strange to me. I just don't really see some of it because, being a part of a team, I've always said that it's just kind of strange to pick individuals off a team because you don't get there at all by yourself. And, I think the last 50 years coaching high school kids, that's what you try to hammer at them is the team is more important than the individual. And then you get here and it kind of turns around. It's just not real comfortable.
Well, I have said many of these things in the past tense, but you are still at it. In fact, still coaching track, and that shows that you must still love coaching and being around those kids.
Yeah, I do. People ask me, especially my kids ask me, why are you still doing this? And it's certainly not for the weather, I can tell you that. And I've always said, as long as the kids are good, as long as the kids are nice to be around, I love the sport, I really do. And the kids generally are real nice to me yet. And really, you look at the kids and as I'll indicate a little later on here, a lot of the kids today, they hear so much negativism and they're dying for somebody to say positive things to them and to be nice to them and to kind of take care of them. And as long as we do that, they really respond, and actually they'll do about anything for you if you take care of them.
Well, I know it doesn't suit you very well to be singled out, but congratulations on the recognition. It is certainly an honor to talk with you.
Well, I appreciate it very much.
Larry Young, a member of the 39th class of inductees into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. Up next is information about a posthumous member of this year's induction class. Roger Renz was a native of Defiance County. A graduate of Fairview, Renz played basketball, scoring 15 points a game his senior year in the 1958-59 season. He also played shortstop and was a cleanup hitter on the Apaches baseball team. His varsity basketball coaching career started at Continental, where he twice earned Coach of the Year honors in the Putnam County League. The 1970-71 Pirates team won the PCL crown and was ranked 5th in the Class A at the end of that season. A move to Defiance High School continued his success. Renz won 3 Western Buckeye League titles and advanced to the AAA regional tournament on 2 occasions. It was about that point where we have our guest, which is Rick Renz, son of Roger Renz. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
I hope to hear some nice things about your dad, because everybody that I've talked to about Roger Renz has nothing but positive things to say.
And thank you very much. It's the longer I'm around and talk to more people, the more positive things I hear about him and learn things I didn't know myself.
Well, as far as his move on to Findlay, he was a Trojan boys basketball head coach. Renz led the team to runner-up 2 times, along with 2 titles in the Buckeye Conference. The Trojans made back-to-back appearances in the AAA regional tournament in 1980 and 81. Coach Renz was named Buckeye Conference Coach of the Year, earned 2 Coach of District, 8 Coach of the Year awards, and was the Northwest Ohio Class A Coach of the Year in 1980. And I'm guessing 1980 or thereabouts was probably when you recall, oh, that's when Dad was coaching.
Right, that's what I remember is when he had some of his good Findlay teams. I was pretty young when we first got to Findlay, but then just seeing some of the success he had, some of his, I believe, regional trips to Bowling Green State University. I was the team manager growing up, I think right up until I went into high school almost. Just I wanted to be around him, wanted to be around the team, and really enjoyed that.
Overall, he posted a record of 334 and 165 before his death in 1991 at the age of 49. And that had to be hard on the whole family, and it was certainly hard on the Findlay basketball program.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was devastating. I mean, we knew he was in for a fight when he got sick. You never, you always think something's going to happen that'll make him recover. And to say, I still remember being in the locker room that night because after he passed away, I went over to tell Coach Snodgrass, and he ended up telling the team, that it had happened. But just to see how those kids at that time reacted, and then going out into the gym afterwards, us as a family obviously took it very hard, but you could see what the community thought too.
Roger Renz, his wife Aileen, parents of course, Rick, and your sister Robin. Any other thoughts that you'd like to share on your dad?
Well, just that, to me, he was kind of a once in almost, I don't want to say generational, but lifetime guy that you meet. He passed when I was 19, but just what he taught people as far as character and what you do and say matters are lessons that could be well served nowadays.
Roger Renz, another member of the 39th class of inductees into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. The team inductee into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame this year is actually a pair of teams. The Van Loo girls basketball teams of 1978-79 and 79-80. The Wildcats were coached by Alan Zimmer and posted a record over 2 seasons of 40-7. The Van Loo girls were runners-up in the Blanchard Valley Conference, going 19-3 overall and 8-1 in the BVC in 78-79. That season included a pair of wins over much larger Findlay. Losses came to Old Fort and Lipsick during the regular season, and a loss to Parkway in a trip to the regional semifinals. The following year's Wildcats earned 21 wins against 4 losses. They were 9-0 in BVC play, earning the league title. The team's only losses in the 78-79 season were to Findlay, Kenton, New Regal, and Antwerp, ending the season in the regional semis. Members of those 2 teams included Janice Borkowski, Mary Himes, Sherry Klepfer, Bonnie Miller, Terry Rose, Lori Horn, Deb Loader, Teresa Higgins, Jill Zimmer, Gina Rose, Lisa Hackworth, Karen Lee, Cindy Klepfer, Lisa Thomas, and Tanya Green. The team inductee for the 39th class of the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame, the Van Loo girls basketball teams of 1978-79 and 79-80. Thank you for your interest in the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame. You can learn more about our nearly 250 inductees by visiting Tony's Restaurant and Pub on US 224 on the west side of Findlay. Displayed there are plaques and information on each member and a bit of memorabilia from their storied careers. Again, please visit HancockHOF.com for more on our Hall of Fame, members, the nomination form, and information on additional events like our annual golf outing fundraiser. Thanks for watching, and congratulations to the 39th class of inductees into the Hancock Sports Hall of Fame.